Hey, what's going on? My name's Tim Williams. We're here to break down today's MLB slate over on DraftKings. Second day of the season. I am pumped. Uh, if you won yesterday, congratulations. It was definitely a wild, more crazier slate. But yeah, if you cashed, hell yeah, good for you. So today's matchup, this should be an interesting one too. We have the Dodgers Rockies again, who are most likely going to be the chalk of the day, as well as the Padres here. When I look at the pitching, Bauer and Snell at the top will probably be the highest owned guys. In GPPs, it wouldn't be a bad idea to fade one or two of those guys. If you're playing cash, those both look like solid options, and there's definitely plenty of hitting that cheap hitting you could fit in there. But Bauer and Snell at the top, maybe a little too pricey. Bauer, is pitching in Coors, and we know that's not very friendly to pitchers. It kind of actually suppresses strikeouts. And then, the home run potential is so high there compared to other ballparks. And then Snell, not the best matchup either. I'd prefer Snell to Bauer, I guess, on this slate, but Arizona has some power as well. They don't really strike out as often. And then there's some other guys down here in this range that I definitely am attracted to. Pablo Lopez seems like an intriguing play. I think that game has the lowest run total. So Lopez there, below that, I wouldn't really touch it. Oakland looks like a decent play against Houston. Houston, those bats are a little sleepy from spring training, but, I think potentially they're starting to wake up. Yesterday's game was decent. But yeah, let's just jump right in. I got this little fabulous presentation here. So first game here, we have the Rays and the Marlins. No clear favorite here yet. Yarbrough going against Pablo Lopez. Lopez is in a decent spot here against the Rays. Obviously, we know what the Rays can do. There's games that they're going to break out, but on this slate, there's not a whole ton of pitching options. So Lopez looks decent. Yarbrough looks decent too, because the Marlins not so great offensively. Guys on the Rays side that I think are in play would be like Meadows, Lau, Arozarena, Yoshi, Kiermaier. They're kind of priced up, not necessarily a favorable matchup, I think, with the low point total, but you can definitely look to those guys. On the Marlins side, stacking wise, you Duvall, Cooper, Aguilar, Anderson, and then you can finish it off by, throwing Marte in there if you're going high because he's so expensive, or Alfaro as your catcher, kind of a punt catcher option. That's definitely viable. That will free you up, a couple thousand extra dollars to get one of those big hitters from maybe the Padres or the Dodgers side. But those guys, definitely not too crazy about this matchup, but I do like the pitching, I guess, more than the hitting. Next, you have the Dodgers and then the Rockies. You have Bauer going against Senzala. Definitely a favorable matchup for the Dodgers. This is going to be the highest owned team by far. If you're playing cash, there's no reason not to fade the Dodgers here. Bauer, tougher matchup in Coors Field, obviously. And honestly, the Rockies can kind of hit the ball and they can hit for power too. So look out for that. Bauer, maybe fading Bauer and GPP plays might be a good move here. But Dodgers wise, if you're looking at the hitting, Bellinger, Betts, Seager, Turner, Will Smith, all very high owned today. They're going to be expensive. If you are looking for like somebody cheaper to fit in, but you still want a piece of that action, I don't think that, Gavin Lux would be, I think he would be a solid option. If you're going there, I know he's hitting like eighth probably, but the power potential's there. That kid's nasty. And he's very cheap compared to these other studs on the slate. On the Rocky side, Story, Blackman are going to be, they're the most expensive. They're the stars of this team. If you're looking to roster some Colorado guys going against Bauer to kind of get some leverage that way in GPPs, you totally can. Cron has massive power potential. McMahon and Hilliard I like a lot too, just because of the price points are a lot cheaper. So that's like another way to kind of get a piece of the action there. But overall, I'm probably not going to stack the Rockies in GPPs, but you definitely can. Next, you have the White Sox and the Angels. Angels are the favorites here. Keuchel going against Heaney. This pitching matchup, I think this is the highest run total on the slate. So I don't really like either pitcher on either side. You probably can't go wrong if you're trying to take a chance on one of them, but it's just too risky for me. The White Sox are going to be a better team. The Angels are going to be a better team this year. Angels favored it here. So if you're kind of torn between one of the two, Angels are, favorited. So they potentially could score more runs here. But on the White Sox side, you have Abreu, Luis Robert, Anderson, Moncada, and then Vaughn. Sneaky low owned probably play today. The stack is just a little bit too pricey for me, but Vaughn is definitely intriguing. I think he comes in at like league minimum. So if he's in the starting lineup, that looks like a decent option. On the Angels side, going against Keuchel, who I just don't trust. He doesn't strike out a lot of guys. He really relies on ground balls. So hitting wise, like I like Ohtani. Anytime Ohtani is against a lefty, it's almost like he's instantly going to be in my lineup, whether it be a one-off or a stack. I just love his power potential if he's in this lineup today. You can pair him with Trout, Rendon, Upton, Fletcher. Also, Upton, he has been hitting very, very well this spring. He's probably a little bit too cheap for this slate, can hit lefties. Also Albert Pujols too. Like this guy can still hit home runs, and he's coming in at relatively lower ownership and lower salary as well. So Angels are definitely a viable option here, I would think. And then next you have the Astros and the A's. The A's are favorited here. The Astros, you almost got to feel bad. They did cheat, whatever. But, these fans, now that the fans are in the stands, they're banging on trash cans and stuff. So, the Astros, I think mentally they're just going to have to grind this out for a few years. The bats seem to come alive a little bit yesterday, and there's definitely a lot of potential on the Astros side. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till that sample size gets bigger and they start hitting the ball well. But you definitely can go there. Bregman, Correa, Alvarez, Tucker, these guys are priced up for sure. I don't love the matchup for them. I don't love the park that they're hitting in today. Kyle Tucker, if I had to do a one-off, is cheap. I think he's 4K on DraftKings, so that's definitely a viable option. And then for the A's, Luzarado, like he's viable too. He's definitely an option in GPPs. Maybe not so much cash, maybe a little bit riskier with the Astros lineup. But on the A side, if you're looking at hitting and stacks, Olsen, Chapman, they're in play, but maybe a little too pricey. Canha looks decent. He's got power. Laureano, Moreland, but also, the guys at the bottom half of that order look like a decent play, like Elvis Andrus is definitely an option. And then next we have the Diamondbacks and the Padres. Kelly going against Snell. Snell is probably the second most popular pitcher on this slate. People are either going to be taking Snell or they're going to be taking Bauer. I would think for the Diamondbacks, Kelly, we know he can give up home runs. So Padres hitters are going to be highly owned, as they should be. Kelly gives up a lot of home runs, and he's just kind of a mediocre pitcher. Diamondback side, Marte, Walker, Lucastro, Escobar, Peralta, Cabrera. This team is way too cheap. And if you want to take that risk in GPPs to stack 5 guys against Snell, maybe Snell has a bad day or a bad debut. It's definitely risky. Don't get me wrong. Snell can strike out guys for sure, but the potential in that Diamondbacks lineup for that price is just way too cheap. So I might look at that as like a full-on game stack. And then on the Padres side, Snell is definitely, one of the favorites on this slate. Hitting wise, Tatis, Machado, both didn't really do anything in yesterday's game. So maybe the ownership will come down a little bit. They'll definitely be lower owned than I think a lot of the Dodgers guys, but other guys to pair with them would be Myers and Pham. Cronenworth, I love Cronenworth in the spot. Pham as well. The price is right. Going against Kelly, this Padres team is just, they're going to far exceed expectations this year. They already have high expectations. So they're just going to be good. And then last but not least, we have the Giants and the Mariners. Mariners are favorited here slightly. Cueto versus Kikuchi. Probably saying that wrong, but Kikuchi, lefty who walks a lot of guys. So Giants kind of intrigue me here a little bit. They're on the road, so they're going to get 9 innings of at bats. So I like that. Mariners are favorited. Excuse me. Cueto, he's kind of gotten lit up a little bit in spring training. He's kind of at the end of his rope, I think. I think he's still got some good starts in him, but Mariners are kind of tough this year too, hitting wise. I think they're going to have a lot of power games. So Giants side, if you're looking to stack Longoria, Slater's going to be way over owned on this one. I think Yastrzemski, Belt, Flores, Solano. I like a lot of these Giants guys going against lefties, and especially lefties who walk too many guys. And Kikuchi is one of those dudes who can give up a lot of walks. And if you're stacking a team against him, you get one or two guys on base from the walks, and then boom, somebody hits a home run. You're in a good spot. So Giants actually look a little bit intriguing to me. The price probably about right, but some of those guys are a little bit too cheap. The power potential's there. I don't think anyone's going to own, like, say, Brandon Belt, but he definitely can hit home runs against lefties. And then on the Mariners side, you have Haniger, Seager, Ty White, who I absolutely love. When they acquired him, I thought that was kind of a dumb move on the Padres to move on from him, but clearly the Padres are, a very good team when they had some pieces to get rid of. But yeah, I love him there. Or Ty France, excuse me. White, yeah, France more. France is the guy that I meant. My apologies. France, yeah, he's a stud, man. This guy can hit. He's also, first base, second base eligible. The price is too cheap on France. So if you're trying to get a one-off, if you're trying to stack the Giants and run it back with France, I think that's a pretty wise move. Yeah, thank you again. Just excited baseball's back. My name's Tim Williams. We'll be breaking down MLB slates daily. So if you're into that, thumbs up if this video helped you, subscribe, do all that. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have the rest of a good rest of the day.